Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today I thought to talk a little bit about the tourist visas to Canada, what are the requirements and why there are so many rejections of tourist visas to Canada, right? So I have been getting a lot of queries saying that, I have submitted a perfect application, for a temporary resident visa to Canada, like specifically a tourist visa, yet the government denied my application, right? So these are the queries that I have been getting a lot and hence thought to address them once for all in a video. So first of all, we need to understand that the immigration officers are there to process your application. They have no inclination to reject your application if the application is perfect. Okay. So if an application is rejected, we have to understand as to why that application is rejected. And for us, we do understand, when an application or when a visa application gets rejected, it's quite disheartening. So we all thought that, our application is perfect. The government is being impartial. The government is not being impartial. The government is not approving our application due to some reason or the other. But we have to sort of go back to the law and the regulations, the Immigration Refugee Protection Act and the regulation, have to sort of understand what are the basic criteria for you to have a tourist visa, to apply for a tourist visa, and why an application gets rejected, right? So without wasting time, I will just straightforwardly deep dive to the law and the regulation. Immigration Refugee Protection Regulation of 179 really talks about the issuance of temporary resident visas, right? So there are few prerequisites for you to apply for a tourist visa to Canada or for any temporary resident visa to Canada. For example, you're applying for a student visa or work permit, right? So all really comes under the same criteria, under the same section as well as the subsection. Section 179 really talks about some basic criteria as well. For example, you have to have your passport, you have to have enough funding, you have to have a bank account wherein, most likely you have to have a bank account wherein you have to show that, the money is your money, it's not being borrowed from somebody else for you to travel to Canada, for example. And along with all those factors, there are two basic criteria that the government tells you to keep in mind, which we always have to abide by when applying for a tourist visa to Canada. The number one is that you have to be criminally admissible to Canada, right? Now, there is something called seditious criminality, there is something called criminality, and the treatment of you being a foreign national, if you have done something which makes you criminally admissible to Canada, is a separate topic altogether, and I will touch upon that in the subsequent videos. But just understand that you have to be criminally admissible. Easier way to understand is that you do not have a criminal history. That's the simplest way for you to understand. The second most important point, and which is exactly the reason that I see most of the rejections are happening these days, is the fact that the officers tells you in the rejection letter that they don't believe that you will be, you will go back to your country at the end of the specified period of your stay. Meaning that once the government gives you or issues you a temporary resident visa, there are certain number of months by which you have to leave Canada. For most of these passport holders, you have 6 months of your maximum stay in one entry. So for example, if you come to Canada on 1st of January 2022, most likely you have to be back to your home country by 30th June 2022, right? You can again come to Canada on 1st July 2022, it's no problem. But 6 months is the maximum stay, is the maximum number of months that you can stay. And obviously you can extend your stay, extend your visa, that's a different topic. And here the government is saying in the rejection letter that the government doesn't believe that you will go back to your home country by before your stay is over. This is the primary point that we need to address, or we need to provide sufficient evidence of when making an application for a temporary resident visas, right? How to make such a, such an application strong? Say, for example, if you work somewhere, so you have to provide the reference letter from your employer saying that your leave has been approved for so and so period, which should make the immigration officer believe that since you're working somewhere, you would probably be going back to your home country because you have a job there. If you have a business, provide the proof that why a business would not be able to run without your presence, right? If you have to show your house, if you have a property in your name, you have to show your car, if you have that in your name, if you have fixed deposit, you have like whatever amount of fund that you have to show all of that to prove to the government of Canada that you have sufficient reasons, because of which you will go back to your home country before your authorized period stay is over. Now, why the government thinks that you will not go back to, if the government thinks only if you do not, or if you're not able to convince in the form of sufficient documentation, in the form of a very strong letter of explanation as to why you will not go back. So as long as you are able to fulfill these two criteria, that you are not criminally inadmissible to Canada, as well as you will go back to your home country by the authorized period of your stay is over, before the authorized period of stay is over, the basic premises of a temporary resident visa is taken care of. Now you have, these days at least, you have to provide a very strong letter of explanation. You have to explain everything. If you have a previous visa refusal of any country, you have to explain that. Right? Do not forget to mention any of your past visa refusals, be it US or any other country. It has to be a transparent application, extremely truthful application for the government to process it positively for you, right? Now, there is another question that I hear quite a lot, which is quite related to this, that I have a very strong travel history. I have traveled to US, I have traveled to the UK and all over the world, yet my visa got rejected. Please kindly try to understand your travel history has really nothing to do with the acceptance or the rejection of your visas as far as Canada is concerned. There is a Supreme Court ruling where the court says that immigration officers cannot treat travel history as a proof of, as a factor of either giving a positive response or a negative response. If I have not traveled to anywhere else in the world before traveling to Canada, it's not my fault. I don't like to go to any other country. Maybe, for example, I like to go to only to Canada, right? Whatever the reason is, your travel history, be it a very strong travel history or absolutely zero travel history, has no legal repercussion with respect to your acceptance or rejection of your visas is concerned, right? So this is another point that you should obviously keep in mind. So as I have already said, just to recap, you have to be criminally admissible, number one, and you have to convince to the government of Canada that you will be back to your home country before the authorized period of your stay is over. Now, if you have any questions and concerns, if you need our professional assistance, please feel free to drop me a line at contact@nuvonation.ca. I will be more than happy to assist you with that. Thank you very much, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.